Hey, this is the Entertainment Advice Channel. What I want to talk about today is the topic of the problem with M Night Shyamalan. So for this video, I'm going to discuss in a simple and straightforward way the problem with M Night Shyamalan movies so anyone can understand it, even though it's unfamiliar with this topic, as well as a lesson that people can learn when it comes to aspiring filmmakers. That of course you can learn, lessons you can learn, so you don't make the same mistakes that he did, okay? So that's what I'll be talking about today, okay? So now I mentioned that, let's get started. So when it comes to the problem with M Night Shyamalan movies, it simply comes down to simply putting the fact that his movies do not explain things, okay? In other words, usually give an answer to it, okay? You watch a movie that he's made, whether it be anything from that movie Signs to another one I believe it's called The Village, or any of his movies he's ever come up with, or even like Lady in the Water, all that kind of stuff, to be quite blunt and honest with you, okay? The truth of the matter is, he makes all these movies and they just don't explain things clearly, like they don't tell people, okay, this is what the movie was supposed to be about, this is what the symbolism is about, and his way of thinking, of course, is, well, that's something you can figure out yourself, and blah, 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 that type of stuff, which you hear all the time, which just makes it even more confusing, to be quite blunt and honest with you, which at some point it just kind of kills the vibe of the movie, because the truth of the matter is, okay, and this is the problem with entertainment I hear a lot, okay, whether it's movies or it could be TV shows and especially music, is that, well, this is art, the thing about art is an answer, it's up to interpretation, but at the same time, that's whole way of thinking that, oh well, you have to figure it out yourself, and so on and so forth, instead of giving a straightforward answer, which in one of my previous videos I talked about how stupid it is for music, to be up to interpretation, which all the people who claim to be the best musicians, they always say, well, my music is up to interpretation, I'm not going to explain things clearly, because I want to use a lot of metaphors, blah, 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 all that type of stuff, because I want people to really figure things out, and when people really start figuring things out, or what the song means, they'll just simply say, well, it's up to interpretation, like, open to people figure it out. But at the same time, when you look at that with a thinking from a logical perspective, that's stupid, okay? Because one of the things that makes something fun, especially when you leave something up to interpretation, which if M Night Shyamalan movies like that, where it's up to interpretation, to be quite blunt and honest with you, there's nothing wrong with that, because that's fun. It's a mystery game. It makes it fun to kind of discuss and interact with people and share theories of what this is supposed to mean. There's nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly normal, okay? But the thing is, at some point, you have to give an answer to the question, okay? Because what's the point of playing a game, which in this case, let's just say these movies and stuff is a game, in a sense, it kind of is a game when it comes to interpretations. You're supposed to figure out, like, what it's supposed to mean, and so on and so forth. It's like a game, you're supposed to figure things out. But what's the point of a game if there's no way to win? You see what I'm saying? That's exactly what I'm trying to get across here, okay? So if there's no way to fucking win, to be quite blunt and honest with you, then what's the point of playing the game? Especially when you do it all the time. It makes sense. A bunch of his movies, not all, of course, there's some movies he did, like and a few others, that have nothing to do with these mystery type movies. But what I'm talking about in general, is of course the fact that most of his movies are mystery movies where it has this whole up to interpretation. Besides, if you cannot give an answer, whether in a few months or even a few years, as you being a filmmaker, what this was supposed to mean, then it just needs to open consistently, and it kind of gives a vibe, because no one's able to figure out what exactly this movie symbolism or the secrets of the movie, whatever you say, what they actually truly mean. So it just leaves it open, and people come up with a series, and it gets nowhere. And as a result, it gets having questions like this is for people to compete against each other and figure out what is the answer to this movie. What does this particular symbolism, or it could be condition, or maybe motive for why people who are the bad guys in the movie, whether they could be aliens or monsters, why they do what they do. Like all these type of questions that are left open. You know, the truth of the matter is you have to give a freaking answer. If you do not give an answer, it of course, no shit, just gets boring. Because people will come up with one theory and this other theory. But if you can give a straightforward freaking answer, then it makes it fun and rewarding. Because people say, okay, I actually won that. And it gives people some accomplishment and helps make the movie more enjoyable. That's exactly what I'm trying to say here. But if movies don't do that, it's either open for people to interpret forever, and it just gets kind of lame. It's like the movie, or I should say the TV show. God forbid if you guys don't watch the TV show back in the days, the TV show Lost, where it's these things open for God knows how long, and eventually at some point you lose interest because there's so many questions and you never get any answers to it. It just gets kind of lame at some point. It gives off the whole infamous, you know, pretentious vibe. You know, the whole I'm trying so hard to get an Oscar award for my for the thing I'm creating right now. That it's not even fun. That's exactly what I'm trying to get across here. It gives off I'm trying to, you know, please the critics. You know, when my movie is considered up for nomination, and of course you kind of please the critics through nomination, it makes it more likely my movie will win an award. It just comes off as very pretentious and boring and corny and cliche. You know, a lot of these movies that have deep meanings, because you just look at it and just saying, this guy is trying so hard to get an Oscar award, it's not even fun. And it kind of gives off that vibe sometimes. Because it's just like, you know, I'm trying to figure something out, you know, and you're not letting me figure it out. And it just comes off, it's just kind of just pretentious or something. And that's exactly what I'm trying to say, which I don't want to go anything, especially in intellectual circles, for anything for that matter. Being called pretentious or anything is literally the worst insult you can ever consider calling someone, okay? Pretentiousism is like the one of the worst insults to say. It's like calling someone weird. Or saying something along the lines of, this is why no one likes you. Like something along the lines of that. Like no matter how much you try to get around it, it stays. And, you know, and the truth of the matter, obviously being called pretentious is not only something that's not nice to say to someone no one wants to be told, it also just stings as well, like I was saying before, you know, which is what I'm trying to get across here, you know, because I'm certain he can make good movies, and to be called pretentious is not a nice feeling at all, which of course leads me to my point for the lesson that I feel like we're aspiring to from this movie, of course, is that when you're making movies, okay, as even if you want to make a movie that's very deep, as much as those others, you know, shoot them up by movie, make sure if you are making movies that are very complicated and hard to understand, that at some point you explain something, okay? Because through explaining something, it at some point makes your movies not only more enjoyable, you know, for that matter, because it helps encourage interaction and actually gives a reward, so it makes it more enjoyable because people can figure out, you know, oh my god, I was right about the movie. That's what the movie meant and this and that. So it gives a reward for people, which makes it more enjoyable for people. Okay? So if you're making a deep movie that has a lot of symbolism, that makes you have to try to figure things out, make sure at some point you explain what it is and to answer the question you need. And secondly, you know, it helps, you know, by doing that, it helps, of course, getting the title of pretentious, which is literally the worst thing to ever be called in the creative industry, okay? It's like, it's not as bad as being called someone as a plagiarist, but it definitely does screw things up, and if it does it in a very small chance affect you, at all, it does ruin reputations really quickly to be called pretentious, okay? Because a lot of people that's the truth of the matter. And the truth of the matter, being called pretentious not only from a personal level doesn't feel very nice, it also absolutely destroys reputations as a whole, to be quite blunt and honest with you, especially if you're making movies. The whole I'm trying so hard to get an Oscar award type feeling, and that's the honest truth. So anyway, this is my video. This is all I have to say for this video. So all I have to say that's left is that I hope you enjoy this video. And just remember, if you like this video and videos like this, remember to thumbs this video up and the subscribe button. And that's all I have to say. So simply put, I'm out. So bye.